Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Monumental Moments.
And the Coaching Ninjas.
I'm Mary Chambers.
I'm Jack Martin.
So today we're here just going to talk a little bit about some different things and some great information for you to share. Jack?
Yeah, we're going to do these little segments so that you can kind of get a bird's eye view of how we perceive things to be. So today I'm interviewing Mary, and we're going to ask her a few questions, and she's going to give you some great information. So pay close attention, because this is good stuff. Mary, I want to always ask you, as humans and as we go through life, we create this reality that we see. And from that we project out into the world who we are.
Right.
How does one develop who they become, and how do they project themselves into the world, and how can they control that?
So, Jack, we talk about perception, and many of you have heard that your reality is the way that life shows up. How you see life is based on your perception. So how our perception is formed is based on our upbringing, our education, our religious aspects, our race, our gender, national origin, where we come from genetically, and life experiences, especially the life experiences, because they can either leave a scar or they can leave a happy memory.
So from everything that takes place during your life, you gain this perception of what your world looks like. But what about when you look out further, like in other countries and stuff like that, and I say, oh, this country, these kids are not being fed, or it's famished, or it's bad, and I try to bring that, even though I can't understand it because I physically haven't experienced it.
Right.
But how do people get so wrapped up in projections outside themselves to where it actually kind of makes them a little
off?
Or feel bad?
Imbalance. I mean, we could take an example. Let's just come within first, right? So we've been raised to believe certain things. We've been governed based on certain belief systems. We've been between political, religion, education. We've been conformed to follow things. Is it necessarily correct? Oh, no. Sometimes we tend to take on some people's belief systems that does not even resonate with our soul. Does not even resonate with our own belief system. But we think that if we just keep on projecting it on another form, I guess that was really actually the word, to believe in certain things and to follow a certain order and to act a certain way and to believe a certain way, which is not necessary.
So typically then, the way we're raised, I would say our parents are our big, or the people that raising us, it doesn't necessarily have to be the parents, but whatever you're raised around and you're taught to believe. Or like if I say, oh, you're a Baptist, or you're a Catholic, or you're an atheist, or whatever you are, that's what you become, quote, because your parents or whatever, that's the way they are, so that's the kind of the way you go. Even though I know that at a certain age, I kind of broke away from my parents and their beliefs a little bit, and I fought against it, and I just started making my own way. But when you do that, you still have that residue. You still have that guilt. If you go outside of what you're supposed to believe, you kind of start getting guilty or anxious or something because you've been told all your life this is a certain way, and then you try to go against it. It feels not so good, right?
Right.
This is what gets us stuck.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's one thing, Jack. A great way of explaining it to everyone. We get stuck when we tend to believe something that is either in conflict, in opposition, contradictory to what our true nature self is. We've been taught to shove everything down and to go with the mold and to follow status quo and to believe that we're either poor because our family grew up poor, or we're taught a poverty-based mindset because everybody else out there is either rich or poor, and there's not in between, or the political aspects, where they say that oh, there's no more middle class because we're not surviving and they're going to tax us out the yin yang, right? Whereas we teach people there's always also alternatives. There's ways of creating wealth. There's ways of creating love. There's ways of creating new experiences in your life. But we have a tendency to mold the old experiences into our life. We create a belief. A belief is only a thought you keep thinking. And if you keep thinking that, because of my relationships and the situations that I've had with men, there was a time that I created a program or a belief that all men were bad. And that is not true by any means, anywhere to stretch the truth. But because I held on to that anger and that it felt powerful to believe that because of so many things that have happened throughout my lifetime, that it left a scar. Well, then when I started working away from that, got rid of that belief system, got rid of the contradictory within myself, I was able to then decide and define what it is that I really want in a man. None of those men were what we consider bad or whatever. They just no longer align. They also came into my life because now that I understand our universal laws that we follow and what we teach everyone else is we make decisions, we make choices. We also have soul contracts, soul things that we're supposed to go through, whether they're ugly or not, and some of them can be really ugly. But when you learn from it and you understand why you've gone through that situation and you're shifting your belief system and or programs and those other things that we work with, energy, our DNA, all of the things that are within us, our body, mind, and our spirit, our soul is living a human experience. So through that process, when you start uncovering the truth, those old beliefs from other people that have been projected onto us or been sometimes thrown down our throat, forced down our throat. That's why we're rebellious in school. We didn't necessarily agree that certain laws that were implemented for humanity are true, because when you start finding the truth out, you come to realize that a lot of what we've been living is a lie. A lot of what we've been living is illusional, because we've been led to believe certain things that are right and
experiences
wrong.
that I've had, and it's so ingrained in people where they come from and who they've been told they are, that they really don't take the time to find out who you really are. And every one of us, all 7,300,000,000 of us, are individuals. We have similarities, but we're all the same. That's where the statement comes from: all men are created equal, all women are created equal. We're all just one species, and we all have a soul, and we all have the ability to think for ourselves. And that thinking is what actually makes us special.
Right.
Because we have the ability to be able to take thought and to do something with it. We have the ability to look at something and say, "Ooh, that's a chair." Or we can say, "That's a couch," or "That's a nice house," or "That's a nice car." We have the ability to have those thoughts. But within those thoughts, there's some serious guidelines that have to be matched up to those thoughts. And those guidelines are, you have to know really who you are. And how you know who you are is what makes you feel good.
Right.
The things that make you feel good are a big portion of who you are. If you're a happy person and you love people and you're kind and you do all these things and you're happy, that's who you are. And it's okay. You don't have to apologize that. If you're a businessman or a business lady, that's who you are. But that's not really who you are, because anything outside of you is a creation of a desire that you're having. In other words, if you want to open a business, it's not who you are, but sometimes the business becomes you.
Right.
But it's not who you are. You're still you, wanting to do something more. Add to your life. Expand your life. And the only way you can do that, there is only one way. And you can test this all you want. It's done through your thoughts. If you believe that you can, you've got a much better shot. Well, you got a 100% positive shot, always succeeding in anything you do, is if you don't give up and you stay faithful to what you're doing and you really believe it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line. It never fails, ever. The timing is the only thing in there that we don't have an answer for. But who cares? If it's coming to you anyway, it doesn't matter how long it takes you. we like things to happen quickly, but not really. If you could have everything you wanted just when you wanted it, take away the money part. Let's just take away the reality. Let's just take away the money part and think of it in reality. If you could have the things you wanted by simply thinking about having them, which you can, if they showed up pretty much automatically, you would spend more time getting rid of the stuff that showed up that you really truly didn't want. You thought you did, now you don't really like it, you want something else. Because we are nothing more than expanding all the time. We have to be expanding all the time. And when we don't expand, we're contracting. And when we contract, we get down, down, down because we're not expanding. We're only happiest when we're expanding. So with that being said, what you're saying then is our projection of the world, what I'm hearing you say is the way we perceive the world is really how we are. So if I look out and if I'm a really nice person, I'll look out and I'll say, most people are kind.
Right.
Or I always say, all the people that I run into are kind. If I'm not a happy person, I could say, oh, everybody's out to get me. The world's out to take advantage of me. Oh, the politicians are mean people. The store owners are mean people. The rich, greedy people, which I don't know who they are. I wish I did, but I don't know who they are. They always say rich, greedy people, but I know poor people that are greedy. I know people with a lot of money that are greedy, but I don't know this one segment.
Society being projected a certain belief that they should follow, right? So some people are going to buy into it because they've listened to the media for so long that they think that they're telling the truth across national syndicate broadcasting. But reality states you got to start learning how to believe what's in your heart. Our body knows everything. Our soul knows everything. And this is where you get the opportunity to be able to decide what you want to do and take the steps, get educated. I have said so many years I've had many different education. I've gone formal education. I've had many, many years of personal development. I've had many, many years of PhD in School of Hard Knocks. But I mean, some people go, oh, that's overrated. And I go, no, I have a PhD in the School of Life experiences, not only with my other degrees or other education stuff, but it's seek knowledge. They say knowledge is power. No, applied knowledge is power. Seek the knowledge. There's the internet now. There's so many different facets that you can find the truth that is out there. However, if somebody projects something long enough on you, and you continue to think that in your mind, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, another example, if somebody says that, let's go for a bullying situation really quick, and I'm just going to give a short synopsis and then we'll finish. But if somebody's bullying someone and they see it happen throughout their life, there's a good indicator that there's something inside of them that they've got to be able to work through to get rid of that, right?
Sure.
If they see bullying, and I've been bullying all my life, I've been bullied all my life, and nobody's going to bully me ever again, well, now we get into the ego. We're creating resistance. It's contradictory to what we really believe, but we're saying it because we think that we have to be powerful, or we have to stick up for ourselves. And what we're doing is creating more of it. Well, if somebody calls us a name, and they were somebody that you really thought was that you cared about or that you really love, you're going to subconsciously pick that up and start believing it. And then it creates a ripple effect. And then next thing you know, there goes your self-esteem, there goes your self-worth, been mentally beat up, because that's what bullying is. And it's sometimes harsher. We've had many, many kids over the last years commit suicide. I mean, crazy stuff about the bullying. But it's happened centuries. We created it. Not to say that it's good to bad or whatever, but we created something that now is going against humanity. It goes against us. When somebody gets hurt verbally, they take it emotionally, and then it affects them mentally. And then eventually, if they hold on to that disease long enough, it's going to create disease, and now we've got a physical ailment. So it's a trickle effect.
Absolutely.
We weren't taught that we could get rid of it. We weren't taught that we could change our mind.
I think they're trying to teach us that we can take a pill for everything.
Well, and yeah. So I mean, there again, it's not, okay. So can we just take a happy pill? I mean, you and I know. We also teach. They've done many tests of placebo.
Oh.
The placebo effect
Works.
We can heal our mind. We can heal every part of our body, except for I guess I don't know. Maybe we could grow limbs, but their research are finding that there's a way that they're going to be able to create limbs, right? We may not be able to think with our mind, but some perfect example is king crab. Is that what that is?
Yes.
Snow crab time.
King crab.
King crab. Or where the crab legs or the claws. What's that
King
called?
crab.
Okay, so it's king crab. So they cut one of their crabs off. They have to keep the other ones on, but it grows back. But people don't listen, and they think that they're cool, and they go out and they do the crab hunting or whatever they call it. And if they're not educated and don't know, they cut them both, and then they kill the crab.
Because they can't survive.
No. So, number one, seek education before you go do something that is going to hurt nature in one way or another, right?
Absolutely.
No different than a human being. Think about what you say before you say it. Think about what your mouth or your behavior before you act out. Think about that time, even if you may be in a hurtful situation, what it would be like to have that, whatever you want to say nasty to somebody else, boomerang you, because that's exactly what it's going to do. When you're angry with somebody, especially if you're a loving, caring person, and you strike out at them, there must be a darn good reason. But when somebody badgers you and bullies you over and over and over again, it will only spark a flight or fight syndrome, right? And that's what we're teaching people, how it's not the old paradigm of fight or flight. There's a fight, there's a flight, and then there's a lot of in between. It's the gray matter that everybody talks about, but if you hear one word, it says matter. It matters. So it matters what you think. It matters what you say. It matters what you believe. But there's also that part where you got to decide what it is within you, and then shift away or sift away from all of those other projections. And then watch how you project your stuff onto other people. Because your opinions, your thoughts, your beliefs, or your judgments, number one, if we're judging, then that's automatic, right? We want to discern things, but if you think that somebody's done wrong to you, you might want to look back at those 3 fingers. Because it's funny how people always point the finger. When we teach people, don't point it anyway. Use a variation of hand gestures. But when you're pointing that finger, 3 fingers are pointing back.
Absolutely.
It's always the 3 fingers are pointing back first before whatever's irritating you with that person on outside. So projection is really important. Being able to understand your reality is what you created. How you see things, how you feel, how you speak, how you act, how you create, how you show up in the world, all has to do with you.
How we create our perception is basically then how we see the world and how it's responding to us. And, I'm going to take a couple of minutes here because I think this is one of the single biggest issues that if we as humans could eliminate out of our lives, I think it could save a lot. There wouldn't be any bullying, first of all, and there wouldn't be any need to bully. Because what I think is so critical is that everybody that's listening to this message, take a look at yourself. Find out who you are and understand one thing. There is nothing outside of yourself that can hurt you in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm talking from somebody, let's say for instance, somebody calls you fat, or somebody calls you ugly, or somebody says you have a bad hairdo. That perception from that person and whatever they're saying, why they're saying it, doesn't really matter. How you take it matters. If you go, wow, and get all crazy with yourself, I can't believe he said that, I can't believe she said that, and allow that to hurt you, that is the most damaging area that I personally believe that a human being can do, is when they allow other people to tell them who they are, suggest to them who they are, and it happens a lot of times in relationships when a little argument might ensue. You might say something to someone, and then they come back with you with something, and you come back with them with something, and it becomes this ping pong match until the ping pong becomes a golf ball, and then the golf ball becomes a baseball, and the baseball becomes a hard ball, and then it becomes a bat. So you're now beating each other with bats to just get your point across. And in fact, it doesn't even, if you look at it, it doesn't really matter. It makes no difference whatsoever. It's all how you learn how to ingest whatever somebody says.
So how about this, Jack? So we kind of went through reality and we kind of went through perception, right? So let's add to that and let's talk about conditions.
Perfect.
Because I think that was a perfect segue that you brought in. It's like, okay, now we have our perception. Now we've gotten into that baseball bat, or whatever. It started from one thing and went bigger. It's because we're viewing the other individual as something that is not being done or being done for us, right? Or we expected that person to show up and have a certain condition or a certain expectation. When we place conditions on other people and we don't allow them, first of all, to be able to show up that way, or if we placed a condition or we have an expectation with ourselves, I mean, which is okay. I mean, it's two people coming together and learning each other and learning how they're going to cohabitate and align together and learn from each other and grow from each other. We haven't been taught that throughout relationships. That's why the divorce rate right now is about 53%, right? But then we allow people to put conditions on us and we're not able to fulfill those expectations or those expectations over and over and over again, we shut down. When we have people that decide to place conditions on us because we love them and we think, well, really, honey? Oh, here's a big common one. Honey, do I look good in these clothes? Oh, yes, honey, you do, right? And usually then we'll go and ask our friend, no, that really makes you look big, right? Or vice versa. Right? So do you listen to the husband that says, oh no honey, you look perfect? Or do you listen to the girlfriend? Well, I don't know. That could be a decision and a flip of the coin. But then you'll hear the side where men will say, man, if I tell her she looks fat in that, or if I tell her she looks heavy in that, she's going to beat me with a broom and knock me out the door, maybe lock me up. Oh, in the doghouse. That's what
Been there.
That was a condition and a program. You know, and what we're saying is a condition, the doghouse. So more and more men would use that saying. So guess what, ladies? More and more men talk about being in the doghouse, the more they're going to end up being in the doghouse is a condition that mankind and womankind, first it was mankind that created it, right? Because, if I do that, my woman's going to be upset, right? And then they create a scenario out of it. And then because she does get upset, then they get upset because she got upset, because they place that condition and that perception in their own mind, therefore she showed up that
I'm
way.
gonna stop by the
Because
bar
that's
and have a drink tonight with my friends. And I have two. And I get home 20 minutes late. And I'm not supposed to do that. So that's a condition, right? So because I'm a little late and had a couple of drinks, it may or may not cause any trouble at all, but it has the potential if you are a condition type person. And what conditions mean is, let me back up here a little bit and just kind of give you just a real quick thing. First of all, life is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be happy. It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to be all these things. But it's not for everybody to enjoy the same things all the time. My wife and I love a lot of things together. Some of the things she does by herself. Some of the things I do by myself. Conditions, and a big one is coming home late. I know that from past experience. Coming home late is a big one. Not calling or consideration.
Everything's a condition.
Everything. It's a condition. So, in other words, and men and women both, I know that in certain situations, the only time I really get any kind of thing that I ask for really is if she's going off somewhere and she's coming home late. I ask for her to call so that I know she's safe and on the way home. Once I know she's in the car, then I know everything's cool. And half the time she'll call me anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I don't even ask no more because I just figured everything's going to be okay. But that was before I got into coaching. I had a little animosity, I was just kind of worried. I don't know why. I guess it's just what I've done. And I'm sure other people do that as well. Just because you love somebody, like your child, you want them, you want to kind of know where they're at. But when you put conditions on people, they can never, ever, ever in a million years live up to them. They can't. Because it becomes, especially in relationships, because it becomes, there's so many things that can be conditions that it's really, really difficult. I mean, it's as simple as, oh, would you just turn out the bedroom light, and then you forget.
Oh, how about this one? The toilet paper roll.
Oh, yeah.
It should be up or it should be down, right?
Absolutely.
And I mean, people seriously get in fights over toilet paper roll. Okay, I could get it. I mean, because if you pull it one day, it could, in a certain type of roll, it can go rolling. And that's happened to me where I'm going, oops, it rolled all over the floor. But I mean, seriously, you guys, if we put that tough of a condition on somebody, that's what creates resentment. That's what creates animosity. That's what creates resistance. That's what creates anger. All of the negative vibrational frequencies below love, right? And when we put conditions, it's not that we don't know that we're putting conditions on it. It's just we have a certain way of living. You have, you and I, we're business partners. And we have a great way of communicating. And even if we have a disagreement, we're always able to work it out. Or we go, okay, let's just let it go for right now and we'll talk about it later. It's working through things. And the best person, especially if you have a relationship challenge, is talk to the person you're in the relationship with, not your 5 buddies and your other girlfriends and everybody else, and getting 5 different opinions, 10 different ways of doing things. And then just because one thing works in their relationship, it may not work in yours. But then we all start judging all relationships. Well, so-and-so does this, and why aren't you doing that? And now we're placing conditions on conditions and then projections. So we can create a whole big mess, Jack.
We can?
In relationships, in our work world, right?
Absolutely.
In relationships in general, communication, breakdown in communication. I mean, there's so many different things that we create wedges with when it doesn't need to be.
I want to give everybody a little challenge.
Awesome.
The next time that something, I don't care what it is, the next time something makes you feel anything other than good, let's say so irritated or frustrated or really quick, aggravated. Okay, why? Why does that bother me? And I want you to look at it and really seriously, is that enough of a condition to ruin what started off as an amazing relationship?
Right.
Because if I will promise you, I will promise anybody on this planet, you get what you give. And if you give a negative, if you come home from work and you don't feel well or you've had a bad day, it is okay to talk to your spouse about it, but you can't ever expect anybody else to feel the way you feel. And sometimes, you ever heard this say, you just don't know how I feel. Absolutely. I have no freaking clue how you feel.
Right.
I only know how I feel. If you're crying, I can see that you're either crying happy or you're crying sad. I mean, I can make certain things, assumptions of things that are kind of obvious. But for the most part, I don't know how Mary feels. Mary don't really know how I feel. But when you're
what do you mean? You can't read my mind, Jack? I mean, that's the other thing. What? You should be able to read my mind.
Well, I'm practicing that, but I haven't mastered it yet.
Right. This is what we.
In other words, I should know what makes you happy, and I should perform that way.
That's based on conditions and based on what we're telling people what not to do, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
because it's impossible. Think about it.
It is.
Think about it. How can somebody else feel how you feel? If you got upset at Sally at work today, And you come home, and here I am. I went golfing today, and I had a great day. And you come home, and you're telling me about this crazy woman at work, Sally, and you're all jazzed up, and you're all excited about it, and you think that I'm supposed to take sides. Or something. You think I'm supposed to do something. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. But more than likely, under those conditions, excuse me, under those conditions and how your energy is not conducive to a really, what you would call a conversation. It comes into a battle of who's right, who's wrong, why did she do that to me, how could he do that to me?
Right.
And there is no answers. It's all a freaking illusion. It's all how you decided to take it. So if somebody says, hey,
an example,
you know,
somebody will make a comment. It could be any comment. Oh, just joking.
yeah,
No, you're not. I mean, words mean things. Oh, but I was just joking around. I was just funning. Well, if you didn't mean it, you wouldn't have said it in the first place. You wouldn't have been thinking about it. So therefore, when somebody usually says, oh, I'm just joking, that means, oh, I better recant what I just said because that's not really what I meant. But in all actual reality, subconsciously, it was what they meant.
Absolutely.
Because it came out autonomically, where 95% of everything that we do happens through our subconscious mind, coming from the subconscious to the conscious awareness. But 95% of everything that we do is through our subconscious, meaning that we've trained our subconscious to do whatever it is that is showing up. So that's where we have people will say one thing and they mean something else. You're indecisive, you're wavering. You say one thing, you say what you want, but you focus on what you don't want. You end up with an argument with your spouse, significant other, even kids, your boss, your co-worker. It doesn't matter. We're talking about relationships. And you blame everybody else. Well, it was that fault, it was their fault, it was this, whatever. But ultimately, that's so really great that you projected that out there, because now, somewhere along the line, because you place judgment or blame on somebody else, it's going to show up.
it has to.
It doesn't have a choice. We talk about our 17-second, then we talk about the 68-second miracles. I mean, these things, if we start that momentum, we've got 16 seconds or less to recant anything that we say. And especially if you're projecting it onto other people, you may have a feeling or a thought or opinion about someone, but ultimately, when you're blaming them, it's really actually what's going on in your own self. You just happen to see that happened to be the person that you decided to unload on, or vice versa. But ultimately, when somebody says something mean to you, or they blame, or they call you a name, it's their own internal misery, and they're just looking for somebody to vent on and take it out, rather than calling up one of us ninja coaches and saying, hey, I got this situation, I'm out of sorts, I don't have the energy, or my thinking's off. And I mean, we all get wobbly, we all get imbalanced. So these are ways of being able to take the steps and take the initiative. Anything, Jack? It's our thoughts, it's our mouth, it's our way that we treat people. We've heard so much stuff about discrimination lately that it's just discriminating. I mean, it's sad to see that there's so many different things going on right now that are great, that are not being communicated and are not being presented. And then there's a whole lot of junk that is filling your brains with a whole lot of lies, a whole lot of illusion, a whole lot of false premise. So we're here to teach people to take charge, to take ownership, to take your freedom back, to take your voice back, to take, and I don't mean take as in harmful take. I mean take power of your life and your situations, your mouth, your thoughts, your feelings, how you treat other people, how you see other people, where you're showing up, how you're showing up in life. Either you're working for somebody or working for yourself. And if you're working for somebody, you should be showing up to that business every day, being the best version of yourself, and helping that investment in that organization or that company or whatever it is, because they gave you the opportunity to work for them.
let me expand on that a little bit. When you show up at anything at 100% of who you are, you will always be good enough. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if it's your job. It doesn't matter. When you show up 100% and you do the best you can, it will always be good enough. And like Mary was saying, you know, about our perception. What we want other people to do is to understand who they are. It's selfish for me to do this because I want to live in a world where everybody's living in peace.
Yes.
And has a purpose, and they're manifesting everything that they need. Now that might sound boring to you, and that might not sound exciting to you, but for me, it's amazing because no matter what it is inside you that you really want to do, and everybody has a talent. I don't care what it is. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care if you got legs, no legs. I don't care if you got eyes, no eyes. I don't care if you're a perfect body. I don't care if you're a 10 or 11 or a 4 or 2. We all have something that we're really good at that feels good. And sometimes that can be, have you ever just seen somebody that just does their job, like maybe a baby caretaker, and they just love the children? Or anybody that you've seen that just loves it, you go, wow, John is just always happy, or Susie's just always singing and happy. What makes them that way? There is nothing that can make you that way except yourself.
Right.
You have to start on the inside, projecting out. We live in a time where because Mary might be one, and this is kind of funny, because let's say that Mary's one political party and I'm another political party. By what's going on in the world, we're supposed to hate each other. We're not supposed to have anything to do with each other. People are on Facebook just hating each other, hating people, hating groups of people, just making themselves crazy because someone else thinks some other way than they do. Well, duh. You're going to be a miserable person for a long time because you're never going to get it to where everybody's in agreement with you. Just be in agreement with yourself. If you like a political party doesn't vote that way, then they're stupid. And you got 55 reasons why I'm smarter than you because the way I think, and the way I think is you're stupid. And on the other side of the coin, it's not just politics, it's religion.
Right.
Some people can be religious, and nobody is out there. The perfect people that are out there, you'll never see them because they're well hidden. They got little small boxes that they live in somewhere on this planet because none of us are perfect in the eyes of other individuals, but we all can be perfect within ourselves. I can be happy being a Democrat or a Republican, whatever it is, if that's what I choose. And I don't have to say, if you're a Democrat or a Republican, I don't have to say, oh, you're just so stupid. I don't have to do that. I can say, wow, I might not understand why you think that way because you won't understand why I think my way. But there are people out there just hating each other for no absolute reason. And you know what? If we ran into each other at the mall or at a car show or anywhere in town or a restaurant, and we happened to bump into each other and we started talking, we'd probably go, well, that's a really nice guy. What's your political standing? Oh, I'm a this. Oh, shit, I gotta kill him.
So let's add to that, Jack. A lot of times when we meet people, so what do you do for a living? Hi, what's your name? What do you do for a living? Right? Rather than going, hi, so what do you do? And I always say, well, I change it. So what do you do for a living? I said, you know what? I help people, assist people in changing their lives, right? Because it's my why. Why do I do what I do? Because I believe that in humanity. I believe that we have a higher purpose. I believe that we're here for greater things. Because a society, whether it's religion, government, education, we could go off in a million different things, but they've created labels, they've created judgment, they've created duality and separation, right? Which we are now, that's an old paradigm. It's going away. The old paradigm of duality and separation. Let's keep everybody at bay. Let's keep everybody separated so that we can constantly fight, because then if it creates war, it creates money. And where people talk about money being created in a way that is greedy or whatever, it's through ways that are feeding off of other people's weakness. The coercion and the manipulation that we've been taught through society, through lifetimes after lifetimes after lifetimes, through evolutional basis. So now we have a right in this time frame now. Now is the time.
Absolutely.
We have where we're bringing in love and light. We are bringing back the unity, the oneness. We are all part of the universe. We are all one in itself. And when one attacks the other, it attacks all. Quit polluting yourself, first of all, and think of all the negative things that you're not, right? And start thinking about all of the things that you are and can be. And then the other thing I would say is look around you, because everything has value in one way or another. It doesn't make any difference. If you looked around the room of where you're at right now, somebody came up with that idea. It started with an idea. It started with a thought first. And everything has value. It doesn't matter what color we are. We're all human, meaning we are all united under one form, whether you believe in God, the universe, infinite intelligence, your source, the creator. There is one that we are all created, and it's learning how to bring everything back together. We're not here to do it alone. We're here to have humans work with humans or animals. Or, I don't know, maybe we could have robots, but do you want the robot to take over your life, or would you rather be the robot taking over your own life? Me personally, if I'm going to be called a robot and follow in a conformity, I'm going to follow in the conformity that I choose my rules in the way that I want to.
As an individual, you have all the power that any other individual has. You have the ability to love as much as any other individual. You have as much control over your life as any other individual. And it's all based on love. Everything comes and starts with love. And it's loving yourself so much that your life becomes so important to you and the ones you're around. You don't have to abandon anything that you're doing. And here's the funny part. If we could just had a magic wand, we could just switch. Really, if you would just take almost probably 90% of your thoughts and reverse them. So in the realm of religion, if you do or don't believe into it, it doesn't really matter. That's your choice. And so should you allow everybody else on the planet. Let me tell you, if I believe in God and I go to church, it has no effect on me.
Right.
If I believe that I'm a Democrat or Republican, it really has no effect on me. What you're seeing right now today is one of the biggest moments in life when it's going to come to, in the political arena, right now, it's coming down to where you're going to see things shake up to a point to where it's could be, we can make it anything we want to. I personally think that it's insane because you're being controlled by manipulative, really mean prospects. People are butt lying to you, and they're lying to me, and they're telling you things that are absolutely not true, and it's all for a purpose. And in life right now is a time where we are elevating. The enlightenment is coming. The energy from the heavens above are getting stronger. The energy rays are stronger. We're becoming what is going to be more consciousness.
Right.
And what consciousness is, a higher consciousness. And what that means is you can tap into who you are easier, better, more powerful than at any other time in history. And people are asking, there's got to be more. This can't be right. This is ridiculous. And I have, Mary has, and thousands of other people are on the same trajectory really right now. It's a whole mix-up. And it's not one of those times when like Elvis Presley come along and the world was going to end. Or the Beatles came along and all the children were going to turn into long-haired crazy people. And it's not that kind of enlightenment. This is enlightenment that's coming, a bigger enlightenment. And it's allowing you to be more consciously aware. It's allowing you to open up your mind a little more and say, wow, what in it? Is there some way that I can live my life happy, peaceful, and just joyful? Most of us do.
Yep, and tell them too, Jack, it's not the apocalypse.
No, it's not the apocalypse. Nothing's
The
in it.
apocalypse
It's a
is
long
already
way.
over.
The end is a long,
The
long way off.
end is not coming to the earth. The end of an era, the end of an old paradigm has taken place. This planet is going to be here as long as we learn how to respect every aspect of the universe and the planet, Mother Earth, Father Sky. The minute we stop, that's how quick Mother Nature could just blow us up, right? Anybody, the planet could just poof in a matter of seconds if it was really going to happen. So, no, I don't.
Well,
Maybe the second coming of a new way of thinking that you have the capabilities of creating anything just like Jesus Christ did.
And
So
you will be able to do it much quicker. But the thing about it is, when you have the ability to understand the laws of nature, look, this planet is amazing. The whole universe is amazing. Everything's crazy cool. And it's all perfectly in sync. Every bird flies back to where he comes from every winter. Everything in nature works perfectly. Every time you plant an oak tree, you get an oak tree. Every time you plant an apple tree, you get an apple tree. There's laws. And do you think for 1 minute that we're here just flopping around like a bunch of fish out of water trying to figure it out? It's not true.
some people think it is.
We're so freaking powerful because we are the only thing on the planet that has the ability to think. And from our thoughts, we create the things that we think about. Where everybody understands that we are individuals, we are powerful, and when you put that to the best use, the evil that you're seeing and the things that are being projected to you, and all those bad Democrats and all those bad liberals and all those bad conservatives and all those bad Republicans are just you and I.
They're just people.
Those people up there, wherever the control's at, I don't have a clue, are just telling you a story to keep you divided. Because when two people come together with an idea, like Mary and I, we created the Coaching Ninjas. She already had monumental moments. We're doing this show now. This wasn't happening a month ago, 6 months ago. It's not happening, but it's happening today. And the reason it's happening today, because we're moving forward. We're excited. We're seeing more and more and more. We're not stuck. We're advancing human beings.
Right.
And when we start learning that your thoughts, if you want to know who to elect, you look at each one of them's face, or you listen to just 2 words and listen inside their heart. They will reveal to you who they really are. Whether it's any of the politicians, whether it's anybody, you can tell if they're telling you the truth by the look in their eyes, by how they present themselves.
And their character.
But what you have to understand is these guys are actors. This is a game. This is a plot that they're putting on. And everything that they're doing is just to try to get your vote. It's become so important to get your vote that they'll tell you anything. And all it is to advance their political career, to be able to afford this millions and millions of dollars to run for a senator or congressman or whatever those things are. It costs so much money that they have to have people to fund them. And having people to fund them, it's just simple politics. They have gotten to the point now where they're using us as pawns on any level, any day. All they got to do is start some crap and we go fighting each other saying, see, I told you those guys are terrible. And see, I told you those guys are terrible. And all the things that they're doing are for them. It's for their benefit. It's for their gain. It's for their win. It's for their everything. But politics has become... There's almost no word to describe it. It's just bullcrap.
Right.
You are a human being. You're not a pawn in their game. Get out of their game. Get into your game. Do what you feel's right and be happy with that. You don't have to tell your neighbor. You don't have to tell your friends. You don't have to call the other people stupid. You don't have to do that. You're one vote. Get your butt out and vote. If you want to do anything beyond that, be kind. Tell people how kind your person is. If it's you like a particular person, say, I like this person because I think he's kind, or I think she's kind, or I think she's smart. It makes me feel good to vote for this person. I really resonate with this person. That's all you have to do. You don't have to kill your neighbor. You don't have to kill the guy with the sign down the street. I mean, hey, it's okay.
The same thing, we'll do the closing on this, right? The same thing I'm hearing you say with that realm, because I'm not real big on the political stuff.
Me neither. I just know
It's using the same analogy. Use your heart. Use your soul. Listen to your own thoughts, your own opinions about politics, religion, education, relationships. You know, it's the same concept. Do your work. Find out. Seek knowledge. Once that knowledge is there and it feels really comfortable and it resonates with you, apply it. We're here to tell you the truth. We're going to be honest the best way that we possibly can. We're going to be as open as we possibly can. But I think that's the biggest thing that Jack and I really want to relay to each and every one of you is that we're here, we're real. We're not telling you, we're not blowing anything up. We're going to give you the skinny, the best way that we possibly can, but we also know, because you've been through a lot of this, is the best that we can do to working for the highest good of ourselves along with the highest good of all others. So any last thoughts before we
I would like to close with this.
Today?
It's your life. You have to put a value on it. Like Mary said, you have to put a value on it. You have to take away the conditions. You're fine just the way you are. If you, no matter what you think of yourself, just be okay with that, because right here, here's how it really works. You have whatever day, moment, and time you're watching this video. That's as far as you've advanced. And it's not the end. As long as you're still alive and as long as you're still on this planet, it's never an end. It's always a new beginning. Everything is a new beginning. And if you look forward to something that is more exciting than the thing that you're looking that you don't have, in other words, create that thing that you want to have for your life. You don't have to go out and be a billionaire. I mean, come on, get over this stuff. You want to go out and you want to be able to travel the world. You want to be able to send your kids to school. You want to live in a nice neighborhood. You want to have a nice car. And it doesn't take a billionaire to do that. There's a long ways between that and a billionaire. I mean, it's crazy. Just learn how to be grateful for what you have. Be thankful for what you have. And you can expand on that using your mind, your thoughts, and your imagination, and allowing it to happen. Take the journey, make the journey exciting, look for it to be exciting. I mean, we just had a grandbaby a few months ago, and the building up of her getting here was amazing. Now, it would have been much fun if she had got pregnant today and we could say, okay, we have it tomorrow, it drops out, and here we have a baby tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. There's a journey. Everything has to grow. Everything has to be watered. It has to be nurtured. It has to be felt upon. It has to be fun. It has to be more exciting. And one thing for sure, you have to just see yourself there. And don't go so far. You know, some of these sales techniques say, oh, dream so big it scares you. Well, if it scares you, you're not going to get there. It's dream so big it scares you, so you'll buy their stuff, is basically what they're saying.
Dream big so that it's big enough for 3 lifetimes.
There you go.
Dream big enough that dream becomes real. Dream big enough that it is over a 3-year or 3 lifetimes, I guess would be a series of 3 lifetimes, meaning if your dreams are big enough.
$10 million house and you currently live in a $100,000 house, you have to take the journey. There's a journey. You can get there. There's no doubt in my mind that you can get there. But you have to be willing to be grateful for what you have. You have to be faithful for what you see coming, and you have to get there. But you know, before you buy the $10 million house, you might move into the $300,000 house. You might move into the $700,000 house. You might move into a $1 million house on a river or a lake or whatever you like. And then eventually you might live in a $10 million house. The end result is the journey. Don't forget the journey. Don't forget you'll meet friends along these journeys. You'll meet new acquaintances. You'll see business ideas pop up. You'll see opportunities show up. You'll see all these things along the journey. And then when you get to where you want to be, that's fine. And it can be bigger than you think it can be, but don't let it be bigger than you can believe, because believability is like everything else. It builds on top of things. If you believe in this and you make it to there, then you get to believe bigger. But have an ultimate long range goal, that's fine. But believe in little steps, little journeys along the way. The new car, the new house, the kids in a private school. Those are jumps that are huge, because they're the things that mean something.
Right.
They're huge.
Yep.
If I could take my kid and put it be yourself, figure out, let us help you. That's it. Bottom line is, it's easier with help. It's easier with people that's already been there. It's always you've already done it. It's always about what you do. So Mary, you got anything you would like to say?
Yep, so let's wrap it up. So we talked about reality. We talked about perception. We talked about placing conditions on people. We talked about, just a different, the conditioning about it, or labels, or, we talked about different, I think Jack gave us some ideas about, maybe he just used the political aspect right now because of what's going on in the world. But take that whole concept that he said and see how you can apply it in your life.
To everything.
Yep. So again, thank you for joining Monumental Moments.
And the Coaching Ninjas.
Mary Chambers.
Jack Martin.
And we'll see you next week.